The system is designed to produce robots and servants. So we need to be very clear on that. I don't care what type of school the child goes to, public, private, parochial, independent, charter. The system is designed to produce robots and servants. And so when you pay for your child to go to a private school, you're basically paying for them to be taught how to be a servant. And when you look at the miseducation machine, and you dart just for 1 second, my brother, just for 1 second. But when you look at the miseducation machine as it relates to Black children, the goal of public education as it relates to Black children is to prepare our boys for prison and our daughters for poverty. That's the purpose.
And that's what you talk about in the book, right?
Yes, sir. That's what I talk about in the book. And it's important for your listeners to know that, because our parents keep on looking for something from the school system that the school system was never designed to provide. They're always looking for this elite learner, this deep thinker, this business owner, this doctor, this lawyer. Public school wasn't designed for that, not even for white children. The purpose of public school originally, the original intent of public school was to prepare children so that they could engage in basic reading, writing, and math exercises so they could go and work for the factories, the corporations. Education was intended to serve capitalism. Education was intended to serve capitalism. So here's the question. If education was intended to serve capitalism and there's no more jobs under capitalism, what is the new purpose of education? And for Black children, again, it's to prepare the boys for prison and the girls for poverty.
Wow, wow. And we see that so clearly. And the reason why I definitely wanted to touch on that is because, you know, even with like my children, my kids, they go to a school they got a Black principal, they got Black teachers. Because I live in the Pine Hills area in Orlando, everything Black around here. But even with that, the curriculum is still, you know, the curriculum there is still, they're not being, when my kids come home and tell me shit that they learn in that school, and I'm like, they teaching y'all that. You see what I'm saying? Even with the kids being, with the, so that whole system is pretty much that, right?
Yes. It's really, honestly, when you say education, like the school district of education or whatever the case may be, it's really a misnomer. It should probably be called, you know, academic programming or social programming. I think programming versus education is a much better word, because when you educate, you're supposed to be teaching children how to think. But when you program, you teach children what to think. So public school is really a programming. It's a programming system. It's not an education system. You're taught what schools function like churches. Schools function just like churches do. Yeah. In fact, the first schools in America were created by who? The churches. It was the churches that created the schools. And just like in church, if you know, when you go to church, it doesn't matter, you Muslim, Christian, whatever the religion is, you're not taught how to think critically about anything. Exactly. You're taught what to believe.
And not question it.
Exactly. And if you question it, that's the extreme disrespect. To question anything the pastor or the imam says is extreme disrespect. That's exactly how schools function. They tell you that George Washington was great and Abraham Lincoln was great and the white man invented everything. And for you to question that, yes, is the absolute worst sin or form of disrespect. So true education is about what? Questioning everything.
Questioning everything.
True education, yes. You question everything. So anytime you're in an institution where questioning is considered disrespectful, then you're not being educated.
Exactly.
You're being programmed.
And I ain't mean to cut you off, but you know, that's the thing. I got thrown out of school because of that shit. So, you know, when I was growing up, I was very inquisitive, and I was raised around a lot of Muslim brothers, a lot of 5%ers. You know, they had so you know, they was getting in my head, and you know, I was doing the music or whatever. But when I went to school, and certain things like simple shit like the Christopher Columbus dude, I would I would question that. I would just simply say, hey, how this dude discovered something that already had some people there? And listen, that would get me thrown out of class. Get your ass out. Antoine, don't get out. Exactly. You know, and the thing is, when, you know, I'm 36, so, you know, I grew up in the 80s, 90s, whatever. To my parents, right?
Right.
You cutting up.
That's right.
In the folk classroom, and I'm just like, yo, I'm just challenging. I'm just, you know, come on, man, that's some bullshit. You know what I mean? And the parents were, my parents, you know, they didn't understand it. What they thought was I was bucking, and that comes from them going through that same school system, right?
That's right.
So you know, I'm glad you touched on that. So I mean, we see what they're doing with these boys, man. Matter of fact, what's the boy in Pittsburgh? Did you hear about that?
The boy, a rapper who got shot?
Yeah, got shot in the back 3 times.
Did that have anything to do with school?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I heard about
it. But you know, I just using that as an example, like the stuff that our children have to be prepared for. But yes. You know, they're not getting it in school, man. I'm telling you. When you're a man and you know you got your woman and everything, especially somebody like me that's, you know, I would say conscious about a lot of stuff. It's difficult to try to explain to your woman, like, yo, we sending our children to them school to their detriment. You see what I'm saying? How do?
Well, see, here's the question though. Here's the question. Okay, first of all, and I would never say this to our young brothers. I would never say this to our young brothers because I would need them to understand the context so they don't exploit it to continue down a road that ultimately is disadvantageous for them anyway. However, when you look at the dropout rate for Black boys, which I don't really call a dropout rate, I call it a pushout rate. And the reason I call it a pushout rate is because Black boys leave the schools because they're told to leave. When you're being suspended over and over again,
that happened to me.
The message is clear. You are not wanted here.
Exactly.
Okay. And so once the boy gets the message, he stops going to school because school is painful, school is unfair, it's unjust. In many respects, school resembles a courtroom. It resembles a jailhouse. It is logical and makes total common sense for Black boys to stop going to school. Again, I would never tell them this.
Exactly.
But from a political analysis, from a political perspective, it is normal for Black boys to drop out of an institution that is racist and that is sexist as well. Public school is racist against Black boys, and public school is sexist against Black boys. We got to be
heard that. I never heard the sexist part.
So they have to deal with double jeopardy because I'm being mistreated because I'm Black, and I'm being mistreated because I'm a male. So in essence, I'm being blackmailed. When boys go to school, they get blackmailed. The teachers are all white, and the teachers are all women. The teachers are mostly white, and they are mostly women. So I'm catching it because I'm a man, and I'm catching it because I'm a Black man in particular. So it's normal to leave a place where you're not being valued. It's normal to stop attending an institution that doesn't have your best interests. Again, I would never tell them that. But when we see boys on the corner, we look at them like they are maladjusted. We look at them like they're dysfunction. They're not dysfunction or maladjusted. They are making a regular, healthy decision.
Exactly.
To participate in a process that ultimately is detrimental. So then the question becomes this. Here's the $1 million question. The $1 million question is, why are Black people $1 trillion people, the richest group of Africans on the face of the earth, people that spent $9 billion on hair care last year, people that spent $4 billion on liquor last year, people that spent $2 billion on Air Jordans last year,
People that spent $500 million on fast food last year. Why are our children being subject to an institutionalization that we know is not in their best interest when we have the money to give them a different reality? See, America allows you to create your own educational system. America doesn't allow you to create your own criminal justice system. America doesn't allow you to create your own political system. America doesn't allow you to create your own legal code. America doesn't allow you to create your own tax system, but America does allow you to create your own educational system. That is the one thing America will let you do on your own. So the question again, why are Black people, Black children, suffering in racist public schools when Black people have the money to give them their own independent schools? And the answer is real simple. White people don't like Black children, but Black people don't like Black children either.
Man, listen, that's potent. That's real thick. As a matter of fact, when you're speaking on that, I want to touch on this. I want to shift gears a little bit. We're talking about children and caring about our own children. This immigration debacle, man.
It's a distraction. And black people, because we love everybody but ourselves.
Exactly.
We love everybody but ourselves. No matter what issue comes up. If it doesn't concern Black people, we are all for it. We are all for it. If it concerns Black folks, we don't want nothing to do with it. Nothing. But if it concerns white kids or Arabs, the East Indians, Anglo-Saxons, Latinos, Chinese, we are all for it. Here's my question to Black folks who are caught up in the immigration distraction. First of all, when did America bring its largest number of immigrants to this country? In the years immediately following the 13th Amendment, the Emancipation, the end of the Civil War. And do you know why America brought 2 to 4 million immigrants into the country? When you had 2 to 4 million Blacks, newly freed, needing work, need jobs, need employment, can't find none. Why would America bring 2 to 4 million immigrants after slavery when you had 2 to 4 million slaves who could have took care of those jobs? Because America, after slavery ended, agreed that it would economically suffocate the Black man. Economic suffocation. So whenever there is a new market for new jobs, it is already understood. We don't give jobs to Black people, not en masse, not systematically. We will never systematically employ Black folks. The only systematic employment we had was slavery. That's it. And that was unpaid, okay? So they brought in Chinese, they brought in Mexican, they brought in Irish to work jobs because they didn't want to give Black people any paychecks. And instead, they would send you to jail.
Yes.
Why do we have a Mexican influx in America now? The Mexican influx is to make sure Black people don't get control of any economic sector in this country. Mexicans are in America to replace Black people. Let me say that one more time. Mexicans are in America to replace Black folks. That's nothing against the Mexicans. Guess what? They looking out for themselves.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And that's the thing, man. Like, you know, we got this thing where like you said, we don't, when it comes to us, man, it's like we got to buck against it, man.
Here's the thing. You got Black folks out here fighting for the immigrants. Now, don't get me wrong. Separating children from their parents, we don't agree with that. It's wrong.
Yeah,
and spirit, we can support that. Because as African people, we're going to look out for the best interests of everybody. That's who we are. However, the political time right now dictates that all of our energy, 100% of it, must be directed at ourselves.
Exactly.
We don't have any time to be fighting anybody else's battle. And the irony is that we love fighting other people's battles, although they have never fought ours.
Never, ever, ever.
Blacks. Arabs have never fought for Blacks. Latinos have never fought for Blacks. Italians, European Jews, Arabs, East Indians, they have never fought for blacks. So here's the question for black folks fighting for immigrants. Once they get accepted into America, what are they going to do for you? Nothing. They are coming to replace you. They are not coming to fight with you. Listen, everybody in America who's not white, everybody in America who's not white knows that if you want to make it in America, you do not align yourself politically, socially, religiously, economically with black folks. That is the rule. So we're fighting for people. If you're fighting for immigration rights, you're literally fighting for people to come here, take your job, take your home, take your child's scholarship, and guess what? Push you further down the economic ladder, push you further down the social structure, put you further behind in the political food chain of the United States. Now, if Africans were fighting for African immigration, I would support that. But guess what? This immigration talk, this ain't about Africans. Africans have always had trouble getting into America. Africans from the Caribbean have always had trouble getting into America. This ain't about them. Now, if this issue was about African immigration, I would support it because Africans are always discriminated against by the United States Customs and Border Patrol, always. But this ain't about Africans. This is about Arabs who don't like you, Mexicans who don't like you, Asians who don't like you. So you're literally fighting for people to come here and help the white man oppress you. I do not support immigration reform. I am not involved in it at all because nobody likes black folks. So why am I going to help people come here and participate in my demise? No, thank you.
And the thing is, you notice that we ain't even at the table. We ain't even at the table.
And we don't mind being at the table. We don't mind. Remember, black people don't want power. What separates us from all other people in the United States? The one thing that separates blacks, American Africans from everybody else in America, everybody else, everyone else wants cultural power bases. The Chinese are building a cultural power base. Arabs, cultural power base. European Jews, cultural power base. Mexicans, cultural power. People use culture to galvanize political and economic power. Everybody except us. Black people don't want power. Guess what we want? Participate. Our psychological weaknesses, our psychological homelessness, our low racial self-esteem is what's keeping us distracted from what we should be doing. Everyone else wants power. We just want participation.
Yeah, exactly. We want to feel validated. We need them to validate us and make us feel wanted.
We want a rainbow coalition. We want a rainbow coalition.
Yeah, exactly.
Coalition that we're never going to have because there's no black in the rainbow.
There's no black in the rainbow. Man, I'm really loving the game, man, because we really need to have these talks. We really need to have these talks, and we really, we gotta spread this stuff, man. We're so big on rejecting this stuff. So even with the talk about that, I want to talk about this, right? And it's something that I believe in. Like, if it's extreme coming from the white folk, man, I believe it. I don't doubt none of this shit. But a lot of this going on with these girls coming up missing, like a lot of them black girls coming up missing in Chicago. I wanted to talk.
That's sex trafficking.
Yeah. But this is something I wanted to touch on. What do you think about this organ harvesting deal, man? All of our organs.
That's one of the oldest underground markets in world history, organ trafficking. See, here's the thing. Chicago. You look at Chicago or any city with black on black crime, which is basically everywhere because we hate ourselves everywhere. But you can't tell me that you have hundreds of young, healthy black men and women. Hundreds of young, healthy black men and women. Healthy, being murdered, and you're going to put them in the ground with all their organs. When you have people around the world who need a kidney. He didn't get shot in the kidney. He didn't get shot in the lung. He didn't get shot in the spleen. You understand? All these different parts of the body, that pancreas, he didn't get shot in the pancreas. All these organs that can be transplanted They're not going to tell me that they're not stealing them and selling them, because you got to keep in mind, the only thing that you need to live that you cannot buy in a store is an organ. The only thing you need to live that you cannot buy, you can buy everything else you need to live, food, clothes, you cannot buy an organ. So if somebody needs an organ, you got to get one from someone who got one.
Who got one, yeah.
With all these health, and you got to keep in mind, we're the original people of the planet. We're the original man and woman. So our organs, body, because now of course you still got to have the right matches, but in terms of a positive acculturation of that organ post-transplant, you want it black, and everybody knows this. I've even read articles where they said the black heart is the preferred heart, the black kidney is a preferred kidney, because we're the original man and woman. So we have certain DNA, certain energy in our organs nobody else has.
Exactly. So and that's what I'm. Go ahead.
But I was going to say, with that being said, I believe, and I ain't been wrong about a prediction yet. I don't think I'll be wrong about this one, although we will have to wait a while to find out whether or not it's true, because I don't think the truth about this is coming out anytime soon. And that is to say this: I believe absolutely, positively, and unequivocally that the black on black homicide rates in America's leading cities, of which Chicago is number one, I believe we're going to find out that these are orchestrated assassinations carried out by hired private militia companies on behalf of the states, the cities, and the government itself, to repopulate cities where black people are not wanted, and to also find markets for organs that can be sold on the international underground.